Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Okay, so there's really not a whole lot today. Um, First, just a little update. Oh wait, you can't see my screen. Let me show the agenda. There is a new Veggie Up image. So might not be anything drastic, but Jenny was just like, the reason I tell you guys this is just so people are aware that things are like always updating and always being looked at and changed. Whoops. Um, so let's see if it. Who? Well, maybe it'll be on this one. Let's see if it's updated. Yes, so this is the new look of Veggie Up. Um, really exciting stuff. I'm just kidding. But we're gonna look at, or they're gonna get a couple guides to go through all of the emails and kind of update some of those images. I know I see some every now and then that I'm like, whoa, this is really old. So if that sounds fun to you, let me know, and that can be a project for you. Steve or Troy wants to try to get that done by the end of February. So going through all the campaign emails and then figuring out which images need to be updated, and then finding replacements if you have ideas. I don't know how many of you have seen the image with like the pilgrim girl in it. Does anyone remember that? Recognize that?
No.
It's like
I don't.
in a wagon, like a little red wagon, I think. And she's dressed as a pilgrim. I don't. I think maybe it's Veggie Up. I don't know. Every time I see it, I'm like, what is this, and why is this an image? So we're gonna update some of those. Allie, hi. Are you there?
Yes, hi. Sorry. Lost track of
Oh,
time.
good.
And I think that image was for Random Acts of Kindness, by the way. The
Oh,
wagon.
okay. Yeah, so you know which one I'm talking about.
Uh-huh. That was bad.
It's so bad. But yeah, so if that sounds fun to any of you to update those email images, or maybe fun isn't the right word, but something that you'd want to tackle, let me know. Jenny's gonna have a couple people do that. And yeah, so just let me know or shoot me an email. Um, okay, did everyone get the paper roadmaps sent out by Rachel last week?
Yep.
Okay, so I guess we're really supposed to be using roadmaps now. So if you're not using the online roadmaps, um, try to use that one that Rachel sent, or maybe some of you have a different setup that you do. But um, at least go over the paper one that was sent out and take a minute to make sure that you're covering all your bases as far as activities go. And I really need to do this as well, just to kind of go through each of my accounts and make sure I'm doing every little thing that is on the roadmap, because I just want to make sure I'm not forgetting things over time or certain emails. Um, I know Allie and I have talked about it before, and we're like, oh, when you look at a roadmap every now and then, I'm like, oh shoot, I haven't done that in a long time. So that's good reminders, but they're not optional anymore. So we all need to start doing them if we're not. And I'm talking to myself as well. Any questions about those roadmaps, or are any of you doing anything different that you really like to keep on track with your clients? Okay.
I have something. I hate the road maps, but I think we all do.
Yeah.
Um, so I just have a calendar, it's my master calendar, and I color code it for which company it is, and then I just write down everything that needs to be done for every group, so that, like, including sending out the monthly rewards reminder or whatever.
Uh huh.
So that then I just can go to whatever day, like look at what I have listed for February and then pick today. And if there's nothing I have to do today, then I don't worry about it, in terms of emails or, whatever. And that helps me a lot, like way more than roadmaps are helpful, at least at this point.
Yeah, so you basically took the roadmap and then made your own calendar out of it.
Yeah, and then added basically.
Specific to your clients and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Becca, do you still use the WellSteps emails for like rewards reminders and things like that, or do you just send your own?
Yeah, so I can never find the rewards reminder emails in roadmaps, which is one of the reasons why I hate it, is because when I do need things from it, I can't find them. They're like not there. And so I just have a document that is like all of the HTML code or drafts of the WellSteps emails, and then I'll just use those and copy and paste in the emailer.
Okay. I love that because I have the same problem. I've gone to send an email before and I'm like going through all my different companies trying to find which one would have that email that I can send out or copy and paste to a different company. So good. Thanks for sharing what you do. Yeah, that's great. I hate the roadmaps right now too. And I don't know how many of you are here. I know Allie at least. We used to just have a list of things. So it's kind of like a to-do list and you could look at the month and just check off what you've done or what needs to be done. And then they redid it to this calendar view where for me it's a lot harder, and it even when I set it up, I think I set it up correctly, the dates don't really reflect, or it's year 2, it just seems off and things like that. So I really, really hope that when they do revamp the roadmaps that we all get to look at it and kind of have a say in it. And that's another thing with the paper ones that Rachel sent out. So even Becca, even though you do your own thing, maybe you could just kind of glance over that paper one, and all of us, I want to, if we have feedback, send feedback of other things or items we want on the roadmaps, or just ideas and suggestions, because I think we all just really want it to be functional. So that way we want to use it and it is helpful instead of a burden. So as you go over those roadmaps for your companies, or even if you're just thinking of on a company by company level what you need to do for them, go ahead and you can send me things that you'd like added to the roadmap or edited, and then we can get better as we go, hopefully. Okay, let's just move on to needs or what's going on with your clients. So we'll start with you, Allie. Do you have anything?
No, I don't actually.
Okay, awesome. Shalise?
I don't think so. I think I'm good.
Okay. Shalise, are you on Cache County? I can't remember.
Yes, I am. I'm the second on that.
Okay. And so Jenny was telling us a little bit about yesterday, because I was nosy and I'm like, what was the email about FICO? And
yes.
As far as that company goes, are you just being bombarded with emails? Is that the case?
Yeah. So like Rachel gets like 100 emails from just user questions, and I get probably like 20 to 50 a day. Just people, I don't know what it is, but people just don't know how to log in and put up my trackers and things. I think it's starting to slow down a little bit, at least for me on my end. But yeah, I don't know if they have like an older population where having a website is a little more difficult. Like when I was there, I actually did the kickoff live.
Oh.
And people were like, well, how do I even download the app? How do I, like, they just weren't tech savvy.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of the issue.
Yeah, that's so hard. And I struggle with that. For me, I'm like, and I know we want clients, we want them to succeed, but from the sales standpoint, I'm like, why are we
Right.
pushing this on a company that maybe is not going to succeed? And like, we can kind of see that beforehand. So,
Right.
yeah, I guess.
Yeah, and the points were a little off, and so I contacted the coordinator and just told her like she needs to look at the points because it was like very, very step heavy. So that's really all they were getting points for, and so we revamped that. So hopefully that will help a little bit. But yeah, I don't really know what else to do for them, but it seems to have slowed down
Okay.
quite a bit. So.
Yeah, so Rachel, I think she's out of town, or she wasn't in the meeting yesterday at least, but she just kind of said to her, suggested maybe doing something like another kickoff video or like a detailed email or something, maybe just deciding with the coordinator what other communication needs to be sent out to help people that are struggling, or, you know, just like a weekly question and answer or something like that. Excuse me. So and I also volunteered, like I can help with emails, or if you're getting, I don't know how you're handling the emails. Do you have a few drafts that you just use for the same questions, or do you just answer them on a case-by-case basis?
I just answer them on a case-by-case basis. But I know Rachel's out of office is set up, and I haven't really been getting any emails from users.
Oh, good.
I've only been getting just a couple a day now, where before it was like 20 to 50 a day from them. But now, I mean, it's really slowed down. I don't think I got any yesterday. So.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, if that happens, or if you start to feel overwhelmed, just let me know, and you're welcome to forward me some if needed, or at least like forward them to me and I can send them answers or something. But I'm happy to help if needed.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Okay. Becca, what about you?
I think I'm good.
Okay, awesome. And Kim's not here, so we'll skip over her. She has a committee meeting right now. Okay, unfortunately, it's time to change our passwords. I hate this because it always takes me a while to get the password down, and this one is interesting. So, if you're on a computer, if you can just go into your WellSteps, go into user admin, WellSteps, and update the password right now. And I need to do this too. So here it is on the screen. It's lowercase b, and obviously I'll send this afterwards. Lowercase b, capital C. Let me make this bigger so you can see it better. Exclamation point, lowercase pw, capital W, and sign, $, capital N. Jenny had a thing. I forgot what it was. Let's see. Oh, behavior. She wrote it right here. Behavior change is possible with work and buy-in. So the money sign is buy-in. Yes. So it takes a minute to do that now, or at least right after our meeting to do that. And let's see. And then today, so that's kind of, as far as training goes, that's all we had, but we just want to discuss a few different things, and I would love to get your opinions. So, I think we all handle stress differently with clients and obviously like outside of work things, but we wanted to go over like, what do you guys do when you have a stressful client? And that can be someone who's really needy, or like Shalise just mentioned, when you're getting a million emails per day, like how do you handle that? and what do you do? Because we don't want to be overly stressed. And I think I gathered that a few different times during Rachel's presentation the other day. She kept being like, like if you're busy with something else, you're busy. Don't worry about it. They can wait. And just yesterday when we were discussing this amongst team leaders, I was like, yeah, I mean, I feel stressed sometimes when I have a coordinator who's like really persistent or insistent or needy or things like that. So let's just kind of talk for a minute about what we do and how we handle that situation. So, does anyone have any feelings on this topic?
So I don't know why, but I feel like I have a lot of needy clients. But I have one in particular who's super needy, who like wants to have a phone call every single day to really like talk about nothing, and like he sends me a list a mile long like every single week to do. And so I just kind of had to tell him like I can't always get on the phone and talk with him because it's hard for me to schedule that with when my daughter naps and everything.
Yeah.
And so I just told him, like, I need you just to send me an email with the stuff that you need to do, and I'll work on it throughout the week. But I just kind of had to stop saying yes to all the phone calls and just let him know that I can't do that all the time. So I think it's okay to say no sometimes.
Yes, I think I totally agree. And I had a coordinator like this that right at the beginning, she was an older lady, and so I just don't think email is her first mode of communication. And she was calling, several times a day even, and I was like, got to the point I'm like, I don't want to answer my phone because I know she's gonna want to talk. And yeah, I just was feeling like a little overwhelmed because we all have other things to do as well for other clients. And Isabel was that on that account with me, or is on that account with me. So we kind of just worked it out, like where if I didn't, and like if I had a missed call from her, then I would, and I was actually busy or in another meeting or something, I would just forward to Isabel and be like, hey, do you mind calling her back? And so we kind of just tag teamed in that situation. But I think that's totally great what you said, to just sometimes we have to just say, hey, I don't have time to talk on the phone. And it's hard to say that, at least for me, but I also don't want to be or maybe can't be on the phone all the time. So I'm glad that you handled that in that way. What about anyone else?
I've got kind of a similar one. It's Lisa with CSU, so you've dealt with her before. But she, like, if there's something she doesn't know how to do, she'll immediately email me and she won't email, she'll call me and want to talk. And I hate talking to her on the phone too, because she takes like ages just to get out what she's trying to say. And then once we fix that thing, then it just like snowballs into a million other things. And so I think in her case, it's a little different because she's a reseller, but I'll just like, if she leaves a message because I can't answer my phone or whatever the case is, then instead of calling her back and walking her through the steps, I'll send her all of the resources we have on that tool and how, like, where to find those resources, like whether it's our training videos we already made, or sometimes I'll even just send screenshots of how to do it rather than call her back, so that then if she forgets in the future, she can go back and look at it and save me time in the long run. Yeah. And then I'll always say, like, here are all these resources. Once, like, only after you've taken a look at them and can't figure it out still, then give me a call and we can review how to do this. And I don't think she loved that at first, but now she problem solves more, and it's a lot less wasted time on my end.
Good. Yeah, no, thanks for sharing that. I know I've covered for you a couple of times, and then I remember once she called and it was like an hour on the phone. And
Isn't it crazy?
yeah, and
Uh,
she was one that I felt pressure to like get it done immediately because
yeah.
you don't have the answer right away. She's like sending emails, and so I'm like, Jenny,
She totally does.
answer. Um,
I've
I feel like, oh, sorry, Allie. I was just gonna say, I feel like the snowball effect sometimes when I have a needy coordinator and then maybe I don't know the answer right away, and so I'm going to someone else or to Jenny, and I feel the pressure from them, and so I feel anxious for an answer back too, and it snowballs for me. So it's hard, and we have to remember, we're working with a team. We have other people we're waiting on, whether it be me as your team leader or Jenny or IT. So sometimes people just have to be patient, and they just have to learn that. So
I was gonna say something I've done. I don't feel like I have super needy clients, but for a few of mine, if they'll call me and leave me voicemails, sometimes I'll email them back and I'll say, sorry, I'm busy, and I'll give them like some available times that I could actually have a phone call
mhm.
in the future, like future dates. And then I'll give them kind of like Becca said, I'll give them resources. I'll be like, look here. And I feel like lately, 9 times out of 10, they figure it out before they even need to have a phone call. So I'll send them the resources and I'll be like, I can call you tomorrow afternoon or Friday. And then usually they'll email me back by the end of the day and be like, oh, I figured it out. So I'm like, okay, good. Stop calling me. But I feel like that's kind of worked for me to help them problem solve. Becca's probably better at like directly communicating and saying, you need to figure this out. Whereas I feel like when I say, here's the resources, I can meet with you tomorrow, it kind of guides them to problem solve a little more on their own. I feel like it's different for resellers because they have more resources than a regular coordinator does.
Yeah, it definitely is different, and thank you for sharing that. So like we can guide them in the right direction and they can figure it out because yeah, resellers I feel like often just have questions of how do I do this or how do I do that, and it's a lot of times can just be a really simple screenshot, us walking them through it, or hey, look in the ops manual, it gives you a step by step. And then yeah, so that I like these answers a lot. And okay, even just with like workloads and everything like that, I don't know. Did you guys have any thoughts after Rachel's meeting the other day, or was everyone able to attend? Did we like that? Did we feel like we could implement some things?
I really liked her meeting. I thought there was a lot of helpful things that she had on there. So I definitely really used it.
Yeah, I liked it a lot too. And I know some of them are really simple and maybe some of them we're already doing really well and other areas we can work better at. But yeah, for me, honestly, I really liked how she kept being like, they can wait, or if it's really important, they'll find a way to get a hold of you. Because I know sometimes I will have a coordinator that maybe has a lot of questions in one day, and I'll email back and forth with them several times, like 5 or 6 times in the day, and that ends up taking up like a huge chunk of time. And so then I'm like, shoot, I haven't gotten done like anything else I want to get done. So I think sometimes in those cases it's okay to wait a few hours or whatever your schedule is like. If as long as we're getting back to them within a day, that's okay. And I think that can kind of help sometimes when we do have a more needy client, help them be like, kind of just teach that we're not going to email back immediately every single time. Um, but yeah, I really liked her presentation. So that was good. Okay. Anything else about clients or dealing with stress or pressure from coordinators? All right. So moving on, there's this question. Just actually, I'm gonna go up to here. We kind of skipped this, but let's talk about our different accounts and how do you recognize yellow flags or red flags, or how do you recognize when an account isn't doing well, and how do you handle that? Sorry, this is kind of like more discussion based team meeting than usual, but um we're kind of talking a lot with Steve and Troy about how to help clients that we can see aren't really doing well, or like, I don't know, how maybe Shalise, you're just with your first few clients, maybe you haven't experienced this yet, but Becca and Allie, like, how have you what do you see when you notice a client isn't doing well, and then what have you done to kind of help that, and has it worked or has it not worked? I know a lot of times I've just had coordinators who don't really care and don't really respond until I am like, I'll send a campaign report and then it's just kind of silent until we go to the next thing. Yeah, is this making sense? Does anyone have any thoughts, or has anyone dealt with clients that are kind of wishy-washy?
That makes sense. I think when the coordinator doesn't respond to stuff, that's like a red flag. And that's usually when I know that their program isn't going to be that successful. But I don't know, like, I haven't come up with a way to make it so that they will respond. I don't know how to get them more responsive, but that's usually the first thing I notice when, like, maybe participation's down, and I'll reach out to them to say, hey, can we have a meeting to talk about participation and how we might be able to, improve that, and then they don't respond. Then I feel like there's not a whole lot I can do to make it any better or
And
to
in
turn
some
things
cases, it
around.
definitely is completely out of our control. Just the coordinator's not responding, and you can only do so much to
Hmm.
help that.
Although one thing I have noticed that's helpful, like if it's almost year end and they need to start resetting or something, is I will do, like, I'll make their entire program planning sheet for the next year and then say, like, send it to them and say, here's what we can do for next year. You're welcome to change anything. And just say something like, I know you're really busy, so, and that helps sometimes because then it's not like the overwhelming process of having to plan an entire year over again. They can just approve it if they like it or make small changes. And that might not be ideal because they don't have much input. I mean, they can if they want, but at least we're getting something done instead of just like waiting for weeks and weeks and weeks until they'll actually meet with you to plan together.
Yeah, I like that. And you're kind of fostering the transition. So you're kind of just assuming, yep, we're going to keep going, and here's what I think we should do. Because I think a lot of times that's a period where people will just decide, you know what, I don't really know how to change it or how to be better, so let's just quit. Um, so I think that's probably really, really helpful for those clients that don't have much of a say and maybe aren't really sure what they want to do. So thanks for sharing that. Um, Anyone else have anything? Yeah, we just, as team leaders, we've talked a little bit about this and kind of ways we can improve. And I think we've talked a lot about different things, like the program success standards and really helping coordinators understand that part of it from the beginning. And then we've also talked a lot about sales and things like that, and kind of like what we already mentioned with your company, Shalise, like maybe before they even sign on, like helping them realize this is literally all online, or kind of, at least from my perspective, I'm like, if we just need to work with sales and not let them promise things that are lofty, or unrealistic, and then kind of keep that communication open. But if anyone has ideas as far as like how to improve the process and retention and that type of thing, I feel like most commonly it's smaller businesses or smaller accounts that don't last. From my experience, that's what I feel happens, and it's just because of low participation or maybe a coordinator doesn't have time. So yeah, if anyone has anything else to add on that, or if you come up with any ideas of maybe what could help when that happens, when a client starts to slow down or things like that, just shoot me an email. And I think it's an interesting topic to discuss of like what we can do as guides, what the whole WellSteps operation can do, and then kind of just being okay when it doesn't work out that way. Also, milestone meetings. Allie, Becca, are you guys doing those, or how are those going? Because I'll be honest, I haven't had any that I recall in the recent history.
I've actually never done one either. I don't recall ever being trained on them. Not that that's an excuse, because since then, like, I know it's something we're supposed to do. But I personally feel like if we're doing milestone meetings, that's something the salespeople should put together, because aren't they supposed to be involved in that?
It is. They are supposed to put it together. I think how it's set up, quote unquote, is like we're supposed to reach out to them and be like, hey, it's time for milestone meeting.
Oh.
And then it's in their court. But yeah, feedback from others is like that's happened a lot. Maybe the guides reached out and then the meeting has never happened. So I was just curious if anyone here has done one recently, because I haven't. So, but good to know you were never even trained on them. So yeah, Shalise, were you trained on milestone meetings? Do you know what those are?
I do not know what that is.
Okay. So they just decided to do this a few years ago, but basically it's like halfway through the program year, you're supposed to shoot an email to the sales team or reach out to them and say just like, hey, it's time for the milestone meeting with this company, and just kind of let them know where they're at. But the whole point of the meeting is to meet with the coordinator and sales and you and just kind of see where they're at and hopefully get some honest feedback as to what they're feeling and how they wish things could improve. So I think they kind of just fell by the wayside depending on the client. You know, with some clients we're meeting often, and so it's not, maybe it doesn't feel necessary, or we feel like we kind of know how they're doing, but the point of it is to help keep our relationship, just always keep us in contact with the coordinator, as well as let sales kind of get a feel and see how they're doing and address any issues if there are some and kind of go from there. So that's that. Allie, I don't know, maybe, are you here again? I saw her name like go off and back on, so maybe not. But yeah, that's what milestone meetings are. Okay, so
Kel?
yeah.
Oh, you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, my audio. I don't know what was going on. I had to try the website. I haven't done milestone meetings either. And are they supposed to be a thing with resellers? Because I don't know. I kind of think it should be a thing when the training ends, just because like what happened with Fitwell. But not necessarily a milestone, but a check-in call. Anyway, I haven't been doing them either. Not in a long time.
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't even know if we're supposed to be doing them with the resellers, but yeah, I actually was thinking yesterday, I'm like, oh, I need to, even with resellers, I think it's still great to send an email. Obviously, we have the monthly updates, but just to send an email every now and then and be like, hey, how are things going? Because I know I have one that I'm like, I need to check in with them. Just hopefully they're doing great on their own and aren't needing that, but I do think it would be a good thing for them. Okay, so this month the ops manual is going over section 3 and 4. And so I'm gonna work on a quiz in the sometime before our next team meeting and get that sent out. But I kind of liked Allie's idea of having maybe someone different make the quiz each month, and you can tell me how you feel about that. But and it can be short and simple, but I do think this will be a good way for us to go over the ops manual and kind of make sure we get the main highlight points out of it. And then another thing, just a reminder to look for things as you read in the ops manual that can be corrected or fixed or updated, because I think that we can probably find a lot of those things. And then we'll do some gift card drawings too. So I'm excited about that. And as far as anything down here, you know the drill. If you want more hours, let Rachel or Jenny know. And then the assignment I mentioned at the beginning about updating the email images, if you're interested in that, let me know or let Jenny know, and we'll get you started on that. Okay. Awesome. Thank you guys for your great discussion today. Any other questions before we end? Okay. Awesome. Well, have a great day. Hopefully you can hear me. My computer audio says it's weak. But yeah, have a great day, and thank you guys so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.